What is kyphosis? It's a hunchback. Often it's simulated with there's three different angles to it. So I'll talk about it in each different angle. The first angle is that we have forward flexion, increased forward flexion of our thoracic, our middle back going forward. The second part is that the shoulders also go forward, and as a consequence of that the head also drops forward. So it's like dominoes. One happens, the other happens, the third one happens. The first one is the thoracic vertebrae drop forward. The second, the shoulders drop forward, then the head has to go forward. It's the way it is, it's mechanics. Relative to that, you'll look at some people have a greater predisposition to being in this sort of a position than others. One of the greatest ones is swimmers. You look at swimmers, they're all a bit like that. They're kyphotic and they're round shoulder and their heads are forward. This isn't endearing as far as looks go. It's also similar with a lot of people these days that bend over their shopping trolley. You know, you look at the little old ladies, and sometimes these days even the little old guys, or maybe not so even old, just people slouching over the trolley. Girls are great because you talk to them about it, you know, they've got a lot more appreciation of how they look, therefore often they will straighten up, and if you give them the analogy of just look at the little old ladies and the little old guys in the shopping centres, when they're doing it, it helps to give them something to give them a bit of a snap. Every time they see someone like that, straighten up themselves. The best way to stand is basically pretty much upright, shoulders back, chest out, and then our head can come back. If we're forward at all, the head cannot go back. The vertebrae at the back, the cervical vertebrae, end up jamming on each other, locking out. It's a physical impossibility. So we've got to be reasonably upright through our chest with our shoulders back, then the head can translate forward and backwards quite easily. Muscles involved, yeah, we've got latissimus. It goes from the back of our, the base of our back and through to the front of our shoulder. It crosses our body. It's the only muscle in the body in this region, in the upper trunk, that crosses the body. In the lower area, we've got a muscle called magnus. It goes from, again, the back to the front as well, from below the knee to up around the groin region. These ones across, they can have a tendency to pull us forward or to drop us down. The diaphragm can also tighten up as well, which inhibits breathing. It means that all of our abdominal and thoracic contents push in onto each other, which again is not such a good thing. You know, it limits our space for breathing, puts a bit more pressure on the heart, a lot of other things, not going to help with digestion. You know, there's a lot of other things that are really negative to posture if we think about it, if we look at the anatomy of it, and particularly if we look at the physiology of it. It's not very efficient hunching over and collapsing. A lot of people do it these days when they study, you know, they get really tired, bang, you know, down. Even working, you know, last 2 hours of work, so many people start collapsing and collapsing down. Obviously they don't have a good core, it's all being aware about how we're doing things. One of the simple ways as far as getting our shoulders out and our shoulders open, if you walk or you run, get the hands moving parallel to your body. This way it automatically opens the shoulders up. If you're a little bit like this, you will run like that. And your arms may not move as exaggerated as I'm showing mine are moving. What you'll also do, which again I'll exaggerate it, is you're going to rotate as you're doing it. So the more upright we are, the more open we are, the more natural the stance is, in the sense of all movement, all momentum goes in the same direction, which that's efficiency. And when we're efficient like that, we have less favouring, which means that it's going to cost us less energy to go from point A to point B, and we're less likely as a consequence of that to get injuries. And that's what this video channel is about, is to try and help you to minimise the injuries that you get. So if you want to enjoy running, if you want to enjoy normal life, run in an open position. If you want to get into a position where you can open up even more, one of the sprinters drills is quite a good one. It's lifting your knee up and the opposite arm at the same time, keeping a focus on having the pelvis level. This just helps to, again, get us up, get us open. That helps us more through our pelvis than it does through our upper body. But the two of them, if our foundation's good on here, then our upper body can work well. If this isn't good, then, you know, it doesn't really matter what we're trying to do up here. It won't hold. It's not going to work. We can stretch our chest. We're normally too short, too strong in the front. We're too long, too weak at the back. So another exercise that's good to do is a seated row where we've got a weight as a resistance, not so much the rowing machine. And if we have a latissimus bar or a wide bar, I always have a grip like this where my elbows and my hands are parallel with each other. Pulling back in this instance, what it does is, I'll show you my back, we can really get good retraction through our shoulder blades. So I can squeeze my shoulder blades together and pull them down. If I'm doing the bar that's the short little triangle, which a lot of people do, we don't get the extension, we don't get the contraction or the retraction through our back muscles. But the muscles we're trying to target is trapezius in the middle part and the lower part, where we can pull our shoulder blades back and down. We can do this even when we're driving, you know. In that instance, we try and get the head back on the headrest. To do that, the head's got to be, or the seat's got to be set up in the correct position. And I think one of the other videos does talk about that, and if it doesn't, I will put one out on the best seating posture for a car, because again, it's very important. And a lot of things overlap each other, they overlay. The more we understand, and if we can make changes in 1, 2 or 3 areas in our life, the greater the chances are that we can make sustained changes to our posture. And that's going to mean less pain for you, better posture, you'll need to see us less, or physio or whoever. And that's going to be good for you, good for your back pocket anyway.